head in, we believe that we might actually be able to live more fully all the way through our lives and gain more clarity around how to celebrate what we have in this moment, to find what matters most, and to care for the people in our lives, like the people on this call. So it's good to be with all of you today together. Now, briefly want to share with you some things that are coming up. Yes, first of all, we have this virtual memorial guide you can check out if you or someone you love needs to host a memorial service, but remotely given these times. We have some upcoming Reimagine events to tell you about. This Wednesday, Mandolin Orange, they're an incredible, well-respected folk duo. They'll be performing, speaking with us at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday as part of our Art Responder series. And Dara, just to say, there's a prefix on her name today. She's the birthday girl, Dara, today. Happy birthday, Dara.
Thank you.
Do we have a dose of togetherness next?
No, but we're gonna go out with the bang of the festival on the 31st, so that'll be posted soon.
All right, we're gonna have one final dose of togetherness for this current festival, so it's gonna be exciting to hear what that's gonna look like. So stay tuned. Also, big thank you to our festival sponsors for making this all possible. We couldn't do this without you, and thanks to all of you who have contributed in whatever way you can by showing up, but also through your donations. It's as a nonprofit, this is our lifeblood to be able to produce these free sessions like today's for this community. Now these cats are also celebrating Dara's birthday. They're Dara's cats. They love her. Is it unconditional love? Do cats give unconditional love, Dara?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But it's also that I'm a really good cat mom. So.
All right. So it's conditional on her being the best cat mom in the world. And on her birthday, they're telling us, turn on your microphones when we get into the breakout rooms, which we'll be doing at the end of the session. Please keep your cameras on if possible so we can see your faces, but you can be anonymous if you so choose. And then, yeah, if you can use the chat here to ask any questions, it's at the bottom of your screen. You can click the chat button and you can engage in conversation. If you're calling in, you can push *6 when we get into the breakout sessions to unmute yourself, which is going to be crucial in talking to one another, which is a big part of the dose of togetherness. So today, we want to just get back to what we love doing here, which is to ground us in some meditative practice that's going to give us a sense of peace and calming. And today we have a fabulous guest, Meredith Bell. Meredith is a positive, intuitive, and action-oriented partner to individuals who want to live more impactful and personally meaningful lives. Through her coaching, she helps people identify how to contribute their talents to work that matters, show up authentically and confidently in their work and relationships, and nurture personally fulfilling lives outside of work. Meredith Bell, thank you so much for being here, and I'm very much looking forward to this grounding moment of the session.
Thanks so much, Brad, and everyone on the Reimagine team and everyone who came out today. So I'm going to ask you, if you're comfortable, to go ahead and close your eyes or just rest them on a neutral point. Take a deep breath in, filling your chest, just arriving here, and let it out. Another deep breath in, feeling your chest expand, your shoulders relax, and release. Another breath in, noticing where you might have any tension in your body, and then release, feeling that tension melt away. Now, I'm going to ask you to lean slightly to one side. If you're sitting, you might notice a subtle change of weight on your sit bones on that side, maybe the slight stretching of muscles in your neck if you tilt your head. Nothing uncomfortable, just an easy, slight lean. And from this place, think back to 1 year ago. Where were you? Who were you with? What elements of your life excited you? What worried you? What dreams did you hold 1 year ago today? And now shift your body gently to the other side, tilting your neck slightly, feeling a slight change of pressure on your sit bones. And think ahead to a year from now. Where do you hope to be? With whom? What will you be doing or focused on? What dreams do you hope to have realized in your life by then? Just notice whatever comes to you. And now shift your body back to the other side, perhaps tilting your head again, and take yourself back to 1 month ago, mid-July 2020. What was on your mind then? What was in your heart? Was there anything you were celebrating or grieving or yearning for? And now shift again and look 1 month from now. What thoughts do you hope will be the focus of your mind? What do you hope your heart will be celebrating? Is there anything you might be grieving or simply letting go of in a month? Now shift your weight again and think back to 1 week ago, last Monday. What was most important to you then? And shifting again to a week from right now. What will be most important? And rock again to the other side. This time yesterday, what captured your attention? What was your emotional state? And rock to the other side. This time tomorrow, where will your focus be? And rocking to the other side. An hour ago, where was your mind? How is your body feeling? And rocking again, an hour from now, where will your mind be focusing? How do you hope your spirit will feel? And rocking again to just 1 minute ago. What was here for you then? And rocking again, a minute from now. What will be here? And a second ago, what was your experience? What was here then? 1 second ago. 1 second ago. And 1 second from now, what will be here in 1 second? In 1 second. Rock gently with me. 1 second to go. 1 second from now. 1 second to go. 1 second from now. And now feel yourself gently settling into right now. No expectations. No regret or thoughts about the past. No judgment. Just right here and right now. Noticing without judgment what's happening in your body right now. Is your energy level low, high, moderate? Is your mind active, calm? Let go of any story that it's right or wrong, better or worse, good or bad. Let it all be just as it is for these few precious moments. Now, allow yourself to take a few deeper, intentional breaths. Our minds have such a tendency to travel forward to our hopes and plans and anxieties, or backward to analyze, assess, judge, replay. These are critical functions for our minds to play for us. But our lives are only lived now, right now. And our focus on the future or our reflections on the past serve us best when they're visited from that clarity and presence and authenticity that can only come from spending time with ourselves here in our nows and our next nows. And with that short gift of a few moments with yourself, I'll invite you now to take one final deep breath in and let it go. When you're ready, open your eyes, return to this space, and from the gift of that moment, let your attention turn to our speakers.
Thank you so much, Meredith. It was what a fabulous meditation. It really zoomed us out and zoomed us right back into this present moment. It was really beautiful. And just to say that I like this idea that our whole lives are culminating right now. That right now is the apex of all of our lives. And who better to be in that apex with than all of you on this call? Everything's led to this moment. So thank you for being here together. And thank you, Meredith, for such an outstanding meditation. So now, with that, I'm going to introduce to you our inspiration for today. Angela Tabora and Aaron Lim are the hosts of the Bitch Talk podcast, which has been hosted and produced by women of color since 2013. No topic, as you can tell by the name, is off limits, especially when the whiskey starts to flow. I think that's going to be part of today's session, but we'll find out. So coming straight from the heart of the San Francisco Bay Area, Bitch Talk is intended for all ears with more than 400 episodes available for download. You can enjoy interviews from politicians, actors, directors, comedians, musicians, and more. I've heard them on this podcast, and they do such an outstanding job. Wonderful questions, demeanor, and just the space that they hold is so beautiful and reverent and irreverent all at the same time. So here they are, Angela and Era.
Hi guys. Wow. Thank you, Brad. That was amazing. And Meredith, that was really special. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. Thank you, Reimagine. Thank you, Dara. Happy birthday. She's been on the podcast a few times. But we're really, really happy to be here and nice to see all of your faces. So thank you for joining us in this moment. So we want to ground this. We're going to talk about kind of who we are and what we do. And we'll have some questions for you to take back to your breakout groups later. So I'm going to start. And pardon me, I have a lot of notes here, so I'll be reading a little bit. So our thing today is, we're in a moment where we have more time than we used to. And what do you do with it? And how can you leverage it to become what you want? We hear a lot about people on their deathbeds not pursuing their dreams and often have regrets. My father died in 2007, and I know one of his regrets was traveling. So, sorry. So we wanted to talk about how we're pursuing our dreams and hopefully to help inspire you today to pursue yours.
And
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Thanks. You're good.
Oh, and also to make a comment about, pursuing your dreams, right? It sounds like a really big task. And we understand in this moment right now, like just getting out of bed is a big task because we're in a pandemic, right? So it's hard. So there is no pressure in this conversation at all on anyone that's attending. So just want to put that out there.
And really, people think it might be a disadvantage to follow a passion or change your life goals after a certain age, but really as women in our 30s plus
and 40s, yes,
we really think it's an advantage because of our amount of life experiences. And when you realize that everything that is really a vehicle for your growth. So we've had a lot of vehicles in our time. So we really just are trying to lean into our passions, especially in this moment, and realize that it's never too late. Our passions are a little bigger in terms of, how it affects our day-to-day lives. But even if it's knitting, even if it's learning Spanish, if you don't wake up to your soul's obligation, you'll always feel some sort of dissatisfaction.
So a little bit how we met. It was way back in the early 2000s. Angela and I worked in television production here in Northern California. And the funny thing is I was working on a show and Ange was like the front desk person. And Ange here just had swagger. She's always had swagger. That's who she is. And she just had a lot of character. And there was one day where I was eating lunch at a local sushi spot. And she walked in and she sat at the sushi bar. Thank you, of course. And I was sitting way back at another table and she walked in and I never said hello. I'm the worst person in the world. And so we both ended up leaving the sushi place at the same time.
Yeah, and I was like, what, you've been here the whole time? And she just kind of like ran and I was just like, well, okay, I guess we're not going to be friends.
But we are friends, obviously. So that's how we met.
So I forgave her and we really became great friends. And fast forward to a few years later, I quit that job at the production company because, I was in my late 20s. I wasn't married. I didn't own a house. I was just like, I really felt this urge to travel. And I was like, if I don't do it right now, I'll never do it. So I really just kind of picked up and left and didn't look back. And for the better part of 3 or 4 years, I traveled. I went to South America and Central America and Southeast Asia. And I found myself in 2012 in Cambodia. And I met this family that was traveling with their 3 small kids. At the time, the kids were 7, 9, and 10. And I just fell in love with them. You know, for me, a backpacker was single backpacker. You go out on your own, and they were just flipping the script on me. And I fell in love with them. And I was like, I really want to share your story. I want to shoot a documentary on you. What are your plans for the future? And they were like, oh, we've always wanted to trek in Nepal. You know, we don't really like to make plans, but that's been a goal. And I was like, okay, wait for me. I'll meet you there in 1 year. So I rush home and I'm just like, how am I going to do this? Mind you, I don't have equipment. I don't have a crew. I went to school for TV and video production. I shot a documentary in college, but I had no idea how I was going to do this. But within 2 months, I met my then boyfriend, who was also a filmmaker and an editor. And I talked to Erin about this project and she was like, I'm in, I'll be your producer. So I was like, oh, okay. And then by May of the following year, we had a successful Kickstarter campaign. And then by September, the three of us were in Nepal trekking with the family. So it was just like the universe just kind of answering my requests. And I just went all in with it, and the universe took care of it. So, you know, if you ask for it, you will get it. Maybe not in ways that you thought it would be, because here we are 7 years later and we're still working on it. But you know, thanks to this quarantine, one positive that's come from it is I have, for the first time, 100% of my time to focus on editing. And I realize that I'm in a place of privilege to be able to do that. But, you know, we're almost done. I'm here with her today because we're going over the most recent edit of it. So, you know, it's really hard and it's been a challenge, but we've been able to make it, and, you know, just every day trying to move forward towards that goal.
So, and a little bit about the podcast. I'm the original founder of Bitch Talk, which actually happened around the same time as when the documentary also kind of landed. And my original podcasting partner, she and I were we're dabbling in podcasts. There are a lot of comedians that we really liked that had podcasts at the time. But to be really honest, it was a very pale and male scene, right? There's just a lot of dudes doing podcasts, and there weren't a lot of women of color having podcasts. The only one that really stuck out was Aisha Tyler, who's from San Francisco, and she's a comedian originally and now an actress and a TV host. But that was the only podcast that was out there for us. So we're like, we can do a podcast, sure. So it took about 6 months to launch Bitch Talk. And the reason why we landed on Bitch Talk was that's what we used to call our happy hours with our friends. It was, let's go Bitch Talk. So that was really the premise of the podcast, and that was 2013. And so in 2015, my original co-host left, and at that same timing, that's the theme of this, Ange was moving back from LA to San Francisco. And
she kind of bamboozled me. She was like, oh, hey, I need a guest co-host. You're moving back. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll guest co-host until you find a replacement. And she never looked for another replacement. So a year later, she was like, can I just call you a co-host? And I was like, yeah. I guess so.
She didn't want to commit, but she was so good at it and natural. And we're just really we're just creative partners. That's just what it is. So, and I wasn't going to let her go. So we've been doing Bitch Talk ever since then together. And then what I want to say too is that the pandemic has actually really been a weird silver lining for us. We didn't know what we were going to do with the podcast. Everything was always in person. We were either in studio or we interview people in person. And so somehow, I don't remember really how it went down, but, you know, a lot of the guests that we've had on previously, you know, we're all at home. And that was kind of the silver lining. They weren't doing anything. The actors weren't doing anything. Comedians weren't doing anything. And we still had lines out to them and have had kind of formed a community with them. So I just started getting on Instagram, or I had their email and I would just email them and they would get on. So we've had W. Kamau Bell back on, David Diggs has been back on. We had the director of voting rights from the ACLU on recently, who we met back at Sundance. We were at Sundance a million years ago in January somehow. But that's been the silver lining for us. And again, I think that just has to do with time. We have time right now. And so our guests right now in this moment have been really soulful. I think a lot of people are just really thinking about what this time is and being really reflective. So that's been the silver lining for us during this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we've talked about how we came to pursuing our passions, but if there's something that you're thinking about and wondering what your passion is, I mean, for me, it really was that inner voice that comes out when everything else is quiet. And I feel like in our normal lives, we don't often hear it, or maybe we ignore it because we're so busy, because real life, our jobs, family, relationships, everything's always pulling at us. I have to be here at this time and there at that time. But now we're home, we're sitting quietly, and we can really take advantage of this quiet time to focus our anxiety and our stress onto something positive that you've always kept on the back burner.
And, another question, that can be out there is, if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you spend your time doing? What do you spend your time reading about or researching? Something that motivates you, challenges you, injustices that bother you. Look at people maybe that you admire, or common talents and personality traits. And maybe it's a time to think about something you loved to do as a child, and it's always there in the back of your mind. Maybe I'll go back to it if I have time, but we have time right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know that for me personally, some reasons why we don't listen to these voices and these passions is this myth of the box, right? Like, I need to fit into this box. I need to be married, have 2.5 kids, own a home. And, I'm a firm believer in, you're not here to live someone else's version of you. Really listen to yourself and what makes you happy. When you start comparing yourself to others instead of your own personal journey, that's what's going to keep you away from what you really want to do, this risk of failure. And, I'm working on a documentary right now. If I were to compare myself, documentaries are so big right now. If I were to compare myself with these big documentaries, I would never be able to get up every day and work and edit for 10 to 12 hours, but I really have to look at my own personal story and focus on that. So, another important thing is, who is in your front row? Are you surrounding yourself with people that lift you up and support these passions? There's this analogy of a fish. When a fish gets sick, you don't test the fish, you test the water. So who are the people that you're spending most of your time with, and your surroundings are really a reflection of where you are.
And then another thing Ange and I like to talk about and think about is, like, when we do listen to the universe or our community, what you want will always find a way to manifest itself, just not always in the ways you expected. Again, back to our podcast, which has been around for 7 years, and we work hard on it every day, and the documentary. It's not an overnight success, but they are both things that to us are successful things. Self-care is the ultimate selfless act. It may not be society's measure of success, i.e. money, but you'll find value and quality in your life that makes everything else better. We're all about self-care. If you need a nap during the day, take that nap. If you need a walk, take a walk. If you need a little swig of whiskey, we're not judging. You'll find community. It happens organically because there are others who share your same passion. We find each other and lift each other up. When we talk about community, I think with the podcast and the documentary, Ange and I have built community in both spaces, but also they have overlapped. In normal times, we were building community at dive bars, but we did, and we would invite the people that we found interesting or had stories on our podcast. We would invite the owners of the bar on our podcast because small businesses need a voice, not only now, but before this time. So we really like to talk with others in the community. So.
And I want to say, like, we call it our passion, but I definitely don't want to romanticize it. It's a lot of hard work. We find ourselves doubting ourselves all the time, and it requires a lot of sacrifice. But that's why we need that community to build our strength and to share stories. But really, repetition is key. Just say what you want out loud, write it in a journal, have these conversations with others, but also continue to have that conversation with yourself. Keep checking in with yourself. And these conversations require action to keep them alive, which is why we're happy to do things like this. Like these moments really help us too, to keep us on track and to keep us motivated. And for us personally, following these passions has really made us better equipped to deal with the issues that are happening today, as we talked about, with just the availability of the kind of guests that we're talking to. It's really, we think of it as activism through entertainment. So it's really hard work, but for us, it's worth it, and it's given us so much more than even money can define.
And so just to wrap this up, we wanted to say, as long as we're living, we will always be a work in progress. We are often so worried about our future, we forget to focus on the next step. But as long as we place all of our energy on the next step towards our goals, our future will take care of itself. So in conclusion, if you want to, if you're comfortable with it, you know, identify your passion, whatever that is, say it out loud, and then what is your next step? And that's it. Listen to bitch talk.
Wow, you guys, that's so wonderful and amazing. I have so many questions. I am hoping that we can maybe get a copy of the principles that you just articulated for us and be able to disseminate those, because they were really gorgeous and I think very helpful, certainly for me, and I'm sure everyone else. And then I'm just your chemistry is just remarkable. I don't know how you do it, but it's so natural. And maybe that's all rehearsed, but it just feels, when you do 400 episodes, I can see.
Thank you.
I want to turn it over to Dara, who I know is a good friend of yours, and I want her to be able to share some things with you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and so both Meredith and Angie and Erin are some of my best friends, and it was my birthday, so I was like, I want to have my friends on, and that, I don't know, this was just a really lovely experience to hear from all of you. And I just wanted to add one thing to the list, which I don't think you mentioned, that's important, is just surrounding yourself with people who will love and support you as you follow your passions. And I actually just want to say that both you two and Meredith and Brad, who really are some of my closest friends, have been so supportive of me with all of my passions. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and some of you might know this on the call, but I do stand-up comedy, and Angie and Erin will like get me into shows that are like kind of bigger deals, or have me on their podcast. Meredith is, you know, a very good friend for many years now, and she is also my life coach, and she has been supporting me in so many different ways and following through on things. And Brad, I will say, he always has his entire family show up for every comedy show I do. And my family doesn't live here, and it's like his family has become my family, and it's like, so I just wanted to say I have such like gratitude, and I am so inspired with all of you and how you guys all follow your dreams and passions. And yeah, and I also just want to say that you guys are all really good friends. Like I had Erin and Angie over for a socially distanced brunch, and they literally built my patio couch. Like they spent like an hour, just two of them, doing that. And
that
then
was
like
the real reason for having us over.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't, but it was great. And then like I have a bad back, and I never thought I could go backpacking. And when I told that to Meredith, who's an avid backpacker, she was like, I'll just carry your load for you. And like, so we've like done all these backpacking trips. So anyways, I know I kind of did a detour, but anyways, I just wanted to say that because it's special to have you on.
Well, Dara, we do have a surprise for you at the end of this episode. So just hold your horses. But happy birthday. Dun, dun, dun. So, all right, everyone. So what we do on the Dose of Togetherness, as you know, is we take the inspiration from today's guests, and then we dive deeper into questions that we explore as a community in groups. I'm wondering, we do have a fairly intimate group today, which is special for Dara's birthday. Would you prefer that we go into breakout? I mean, we can either stay here all together and explore the questions, or we can move into breakout rooms and split us up into smaller groups. And this can be democratic. And I can't see all your faces to make this vote. But for those of you that I can't see, thumbs up if you want to stay here in one group. Thumbs up if you want to go into individual breakout groups. So, okay, I don't mean to, so this is a democracy of some sort. So, Ronnie, if you don't, is that okay? Is that how you pronounce your name? Would you be okay staying here with the group? Okay, fabulous. Hi, thanks, Wayne. We're gonna stay here. That was the vote that we just took, and we're gonna therefore get a chance to explore these questions as one community. And I'm gonna pull up the questions that you so thoughtfully articulated for us today. Let's see. Here they come. So what we're asking is, well, it was a fabulous meditation today. So what came up in the meditation while you were shifting from past and future and then settling into the now? That's one question. So what was that experience like? And then what is your passion and what is your immediate next steps to follow it or find it? So let's just take those questions in for a sec, and maybe Dara, you can put them in the chat for us. And I will then close this, and let's just see if anyone wants to respond to those questions. So what came up in the meditation for you? How did that make you feel? And then what are the next steps for you in following or finding your passion? Does anyone want to share with us? Okay, we got a taker. We got Sheila Merle Johnson. I'm going to unmute you, Sheila Merle.
Thank you, Brad. I'm always happy to share first. The meditation was wonderful for me. I've done it and taught it sketchily over the years, and I loved how you embodied thought. You brought it into the body, and I really felt that my left side was leaning to the past and my right side to the future. And then the physical balancing into the now was really beautiful. I realized doing it that, and this relates to the second question, that my passion emerged, my current passion emerged as a vague question a year or two ago of what is my legacy. And I love looking back and seeing how various events lined up to guide me to what is it and what to do about it. And the what is it is emerging into something new to teach from my varied backgrounds in body work and image consulting and home staging. And through Reimagine, all of the wonderful events that have asked more and more precise questions, it came from a general legacy down to some specific things for the now. And out of my Reimagine spotlight last week, I got 3 beta babes, they call themselves, that are willing to take that next step and let me just put together all the knowledge and wisdom of these later years into something that they are willing to try out and give me feedback about. So that's moving slowly. It's not my next step like as soon as I get off this call, but it's made it real. There really are people out there who want to follow this blend of spiritual development, emotional development, inner image projected outwards through clothes and what we wear and what brings us pleasure, and how our houses can reflect our own specific inner passions and who we are at this moment in time.
Thank you, Sheila Merle.
Okay, I'll shut up.
No, that's not what I was suggesting, but maybe I cut you off. I hope I did not.
No, it's fine. I can go on. I'm a talker on Zoom. So I've discovered that. So sometimes I need to be shut up.
Oh, well, that wasn't my intention, but I really love what you shared and how the meditation and then the questions for you, it's coming to the fore for you right now, and it's really inspiring for all of us to see that, you know, I think for those of us that are maybe, you know, 3 or 4 years younger than you, to see
for decades, my dear.
to see, you know, I think it's so important just that in our society, I don't know, we can get into it, we'll talk about that, but I want to make sure there's room for other people to talk.
Yeah, I just want to say, live your legacy now.
Exactly.
Don't wait till you're 75.
For those of you that don't have your video up, it's hard for me to identify if you're interested in talking. So if you want to unmute yourself, or first of all, if you could turn on your video, that'd be the best. But if you have something you want to share, if you want to just get off the, unmute yourself, that will alert us that you have something to share. So just by the act of unmuting, we will then learn that you want to share if you can't do so otherwise. Now, does anyone who's on video have something that you'd like to share to answer these questions? We'd love to hear from Ronnie or Dan or Brenda or Wayne or Jan. Ronnie.
I will. Hi, I'm Ronnie. I live in Port Townsend, Washington. Thank you so much, Meredith, for the meditation. I love the rocking. It took me through every emotion that I've experienced over the last year. I'm a caregiver, hospice, my partner died, I've made a new life, and my passion has always been living adventurously. It's wonderful to see so many young faces because I'm around old people all the time, and I'm not old. I have gray hair, but I'm not old. So the passion, and I loved what she just said about legacy, because I've become a grandmother, so I'm in the process of writing separate journals for my 2 children and my granddaughter of all my life stories, so they can read about me from my perspective and get a little more truthful about who Meemaw really is. Because I'm not a knitter who sits and rocks in a chair. I have a sailboat. I have a community we're building in Washington State with multiple housings in one little village. And I just love hearing how everyone so far has taken this pandemic pause and found the silver lining. I have compassion for everyone who's suffering. My caregiving friends are really going through a hard time with multiple shifts and people dying, but I just feel like it's a gift from the cosmic, and I love seeing all of the wonderful, fruitful, and I've become a Zoom addict too, because it's wonderful seeing everyone. So thank you for letting me join.
Thanks for being here and such inspiring. Yes, you are not old.
No, 66 young.
Exactly. Anyone else? Lanny, I see you just turned on your video. If you're interested in sharing.
Hello, everyone. I just finally able to find sort of a place to sit down. So my name is Lani. I'm in San Francisco, and thank you for the meditation and also for sort of a good talk that you ladies provided earlier. The meditation was pretty different experience for me. So it was a good experience, but it actually, instead of calming me, it actually got me to be a bit restless, because I realized a year before, if I go back a year ago, I felt that I was more stuck than actually making progress. And then when you said swing to a year ahead from now, and I was thinking, I don't want to be stuck in the same place a year from now. It's sort of like an invitation for me to sort of be self-introspective and sort of see what next step to take in terms of where I want to be a year from now. So it was an unsettling feeling, but it's a good realization. So thank you. About my passion. So this is sort of one of the example that I think either Angela or Erin mentioned. As a kid, I always loved to draw. I sort of tried to trick my parents to let me go to architectural school to sort of still at least have access to drawing. That didn't go through too well. So I sort of let go of drawing for the longest time. Went to school, started my career, and just finally about 3 years ago, I went back to it again. I grew up in Southeast Asia. So when I moved here, and I also lived in Europe for a few years, when I move around, I sort of shed off a lot of loads from all the things that I own, because every time you move, you're just like, oh, this is too many things. I have to kind of throw things away, donate, give away, and then move to different place to place. But interestingly, a little pouch of my drawing supplies, of my drawing essential tools that I had since I was a junior high schooler. I still have it until now. So I'm back in San Francisco now, and I still have that little black pouch that is like this little pencil bag with just a very cheap stuff. It's just pencils and erasers and drafting pens. I still have that after I move around all over the world. So I started taking drawing classes again. I started to sort of being curious about, in addition to sort of deepen my skill, learning new techniques and whatnot, and sort of like looking into where can this take me and sort of what I would like to make out of it. Meeting new friends, meeting new people that in the field that is just really exciting and really humbling at the same time, kind of meeting all this really creative, really good artists. So my next step would be, I think, to just continue follow my nose instead of making the step toward the direction where it feels just delicious and yummy, and supporting others and let myself be supported also by the new friends and artists that I've met so far. So that's kind of what my plan is. It's just very simple. I think just stay on the course, and hopefully a year from now when I do that meditation again, I will not feel that I did not do enough, or I did, just sit my butt wedge on the sofa and not doing as much as I would like to do. So thank you.
Oh, amazing. You're doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Now,
you.
Brenda, do you want to share?
Hi. I just wanted to speak to the comment about you don't test the fish, you test the water. And I think that's what I'm doing right now is I'm looking at what I've been putting myself, what I've been surrounding myself with. And what I realize is that hasn't been helping me achieve my passions or do something that is a little bit uncomfortable for me. And I realized that I was staying stagnant. I was stagnant for a very long time. And I was tired of it. I want to continue to grow and to meet people. Doing these Zoom calls has been really, really wonderful for me because I'm meeting people who are trying to do the same thing that I'm doing. And it's nice because it's building this community where I can call on somebody because they know maybe what I'm going through, they have some experience. So I guess just putting myself out there more and changing my surroundings and not continuing to do the same thing over and over and expecting something different to happen. So, and this is all thanks to Imagine It You and everybody that I've met. Yeah, that's the gist.
Thank you for being here and inspiring us with your words and your realizations, honestly, for everyone. I mean, you guys are, as Jan, maybe you could share yourself. I thought you were sending me a public message, but it's private if you want to share anything.
I'm just going, me? I'm just, okay, as long as you're calling on me, I'll go, No, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy birthday to Dara. Thank you for the meditation and for this wonderful presentation and for you and for everything you all do. This has been a lifeline for me, and I'm just thrilled to be here every time, and thank you.
Yeah, no, I would say that you all is what you're this. If this is a show, you're all the stars. I mean, it's so it's just for you to for all us all to be together. It just feels so nice. This is nice. So it's important to have these nice moments, and it's really special, I think, for everyone who's here to be with each other. We're all making this special together. So thank you, Jan, thank you, Brenda. Dan, do you want to maybe if you want to share your poem even, or you could share something that's coming up for you? But that poem looked wonderful too.
Sure. Well, anyway. Yeah, and thanks, Brad, for everything you've been doing with this whole series. It's really been great. And Dara, thanks for being here, and the rest of you. this has really been wonderful. So when the lockdown started, I committed to making it at least more worthwhile. On a personal level, I've enjoyed being home a lot and being locked down. It's like a good excuse, and I love not having as many social obligations and not shaking anyone's hand. That's been a tremendous blessing. And I'm not going back. But you know, I love ideas and writing, so I committed to doing that. I took a couple of online courses, free courses, and that was also fun. But I have like so much material, and I'm always so slow and distracted. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I put out a veg book from a lot of material I had. Of course, I added and I shifted, and I've now gotten some translators. So it's really cool. So my book is out, and it's now in Spanish, Italian, Chinese, Thai, Korean, and Hebrew and Burmese are in the works right now. So that's been feeling really good. And finishing a little happiness book, and working on, you know, a way to put that out, and been writing some poetry and loads of haiku, and just doing stuff with that too. I had a little haiku project that was almost finished, so I finished that, and now I'm sending that around, called Sweet Nothings, and it's haiku and some discussion about the concept of nothing, because you know, nothing is everything. So I don't know how long I can keep up this productive pace, because it feels really good. It's also really tiring. But for now, that's what I'm doing, and I'm loving it. Thanks, Dan.
And check out Dan's link in the chat. He has a link to his latest publication, which I saw, his haiku. It's very much thematically aligned with some of our beliefs at Reimagine around social justice. And I encourage everyone to check it out. Maybe you can post it again in the chat so it gets down at the bottom. Now, I want to make sure we have time for this final thing we want to do. But Wayne, I see you just joined. If you want to share something for a minute, we'd love to hear your voice.
Oh, sure. It's just a still picture. But here I am in live. What are you asking me?
Is there anything you want to share to inspire us for a second?
I'm planning on getting a canoe. Oh, wait. My speaker. Yeah, I'm planning on getting a canoe.
Oh, nice. That's what we're talking about.
We're going to be adventuresome and travel to great lakes around my area.
Whoa. How many people are going to get in that canoe? Is it one person? Nice.
Just me.
Love it. That's the dream. You'll have to share us a photo of the canoe when it's acquired.
I will.
Thank you, sir.
It'll probably be yellow.
Wayne's yellow canoe. Do you have a name for the? Will you have a name for the canoe?
Maybe The Adventure.
Okay, love it. Thank you, Wayne, so much for sharing. And so it is Dara's birthday today, and Dara is at Reimagine. She's our program director, and she's just so much more than that. She's the lifeblood, as Jan shared, to our organization, cooking up and dreaming up the ethos and the heart and the backbone of what we're doing. And she's just such a wonderful person with a sweet spirit and a love of life and a zest and a humor and a joy that she brings to her work, and a passion as well. And we wanted to do a little birthday tribute to Dara. And to do that, we invited one very special person who we knew would do the birthday tribute like no other. And that person is Sheila Merle. Sheila Merle, if you want to start with some words. So Sheila Merle is a guest on Dose of Togetherness. We met through the Dose. She's, as you heard her kick off this conversation, she's an inspiring woman. and she's going to share a few words, and then she's going to lead us in a concluding song. Now, Sheila Merle, you're on mute. I'm going to unmute. You want to unmute yourself?
There we go. So this, not only has this festival brought me wonderful wisdom and clarification, clarity, but I've met this wonderful young woman named Dara. It took me a while to get the pronunciation right, who at such a young age, from my perspective, has so much wisdom and has a quality that I think it underlies all of the presence and humility, and that is she's willing to be vulnerable. She's got vulnerability and innate wisdom that have inspired me to adopt her. So I'd like to invite you with this song that is coming up to let the music come into your body. To me, embodiment of our wisdom and knowledge is at the basis, or at least a strong pillar of spiritual growth. So let the music inspire some movement. If you're shy, you can turn off your video. It can be as small as your hands or as big as your whole body, as small as a movement of a vertebrae, as big as the universe. So.
All right, so thank you to Meredith, and thank you to Angie and Aaron for being here. We're gonna leave you guys with this happy birthday tribute to Dara. Honestly, thanks to everyone for being here. You've all made this so special. Dara, you make this special. Happy birthday. Since we can't sing happy birthday, make it sound good, we're gonna end with happy from Pharrell Williams. Pharrell, I guess is how this is his name. Here we go.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. I said, take it now. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down. Can't nothing bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. The love is too high to bring me down.
everybody. Great job.
Thank
Dara,
you
happy
all.
birthday.
That was a wonderful way to spend my birthday. So thank you all for doing that.
Happy birthday, Dara.
Hey. Thank you.
I wish I could give it to you here.
Feel it.
Happy birthday, Dara.
Happy birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happiness to everyone.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And thank you, Angie and Erin and Meredith for doing all of this today. So that was awesome. And yeah, no, this was so much fun. This didn't feel like work at all. It just felt like fun. So.
Every day of our lives.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, every dose feels this way, but this felt particularly.
Dara, we need to have more birthdays.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We can slow it down. I'm okay with
it. Say happy birthday. Say happy birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Dara.
Oh.
Is that alive?
What?
Yeah.
It's
real.
Alive.
Oh my god! And I'm obsessed with Erin's dogs, Koki and Will, like the little one.
You wanna come?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
have one last thing to share. I know we're over time, but Meredith, this is for you. In my family, it reminded me of your meditation. In my uncle's family has this whole thing called meerkat left, meerkat right.
Oh.
And it's like we're in a car and my uncle would be like, meerkat left. And then everyone would be like, meerkat right. And everyone goes, and so it's just a very fun thing. I thought we could just try it together. Let's do
it.
Meerkat left.
No, left.
Wait, why am I?
Because there's your own head's gonna look different than everyone else's head.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
It's kind of messing up on Zoom. Meerkat right. Meerkat left. Meerkat right. Perfect. Okay. Anyway, that's how meerkats fall asleep. They just all of a sudden they're standing up and then they just fall over to one side. So that's the meerkat reference. But anyway, I was able to still focus on the meditation, but I was definitely having. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Stay well. Love you all, and just be well. Happy birthday again. Thanks again for our special guest.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Erin and Angie, amazing job. That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.